Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Mixed Media Mayhem. And I am combining it with Kit Conspiracy today. So I have pulled out the papers that were in my kit this week, and I'm doing a double pager. We are supposed to be using a monochromatic layout, spray inks, and circles or bubbles. Now, my monochromatic is a little bit of a stretch, hopefully not by too much, but I'm going with like a yellowy green, and sometimes I veer into the yellow and sometimes I veer into the green. And yes, that paper is turquoise. It is not yellow or green. And you're going to quickly see that I do not end up using that paper, but I left that in there so you could see that I messed around with it, trying to figure out if I should use it or not. And I quickly decided no. Well, I didn't quickly decide. It took me a while, but I decided not to. I decided to go a different route, and I did end up using that paper. If you watched yesterday's video, I used the turquoise paper yesterday. So yes, the filming is a little out of order from what you're seeing, but I did think about using that turquoise first. So here I am using this chipboard piece from Dusty Attic, and I am using some Media Gloss spray from Dina Wakley. And I'm using evergreen and aloe. And the first color I actually put on there was sand. And then I decided, you know, the sand is fine. It can be in there, but I'm not going to put a whole bunch more of the sand color on. My sand bottle squirts kind of weird. It like squirts in a stream rather than a spray. And so I had totally forgotten about that. But I decided I'm not putting any more on there because it sprays so weird. And then I end up using some Distress Mica stain spray in, let's see here. I think one is called something, Elixir, is that right? Yeah, Wicked Elixir and Harvest Moon. So Wicked Elixir is the green, Harvest Moon is the yellow. And then I am also going to use Decayed, which is what I'm actually applying right now. It's kind of like an olivey green with kind of a hint of gold to it. It's kind of a weird color. And then I already used one called Iron Gate, and that's what I sprayed on the lock in the middle. So I'm also going to use these die cut trees. These were die cut from some dies from Elizabeth Craft Design. I'll put the link down below if they're still available. They came in a big set with a snow globe, not snow globe. I take that back. A mason jar. And so it's quite a large set of dies, and I don't even know if it's available any longer. But I also used a little bit of the Media Gloss spray in Cheddar, which is a little bit of an orangey yellow. And that's what is at the very top of the trees. So this is the paper I'm using. I'm going to use this black with chicken wire, and then I'm going to use that green. And now remember, if you watched my kit, my green is slightly different than MK's green just because we didn't have the exact same paper, but we wanted to include something that reads as a solid in our kits. And so we had that green as one of the options. Now I thought I was going to back everything on white paper, but I end up using black paper. So I'm going to swap that out in just a moment here. And I figured that out pretty quickly. But I want to rip my paper, and they are both stacked up. I want my rips to match as much as possible. And you're going to see the reason for this is because I'm going to marry up the two papers on each side. And that keeps it so that I could still keep it as close to a 12 by 12 as possible. And I'm not too worried about which one has like the white edge showing, because the one that does not have the white edge showing is going to be the one that is on top, so you don't see that white edge. Now, if you wanted your white edge to show from where you ripped it, then you just do it reverse of what I did. So I am going to trim off the bottom by about 1/4 inch, just so that I have a black border on the 3 outer sides of both sides of this layout. I do want the chicken wire to meet up in the middle, so there's not going to be any black border showing there. And I didn't trim anything off of the right or left of either of these papers because where I marry them up in the middle is where it takes up that 1/4 inch. It's not even really 1/4 inch, it's less than that. It's about 1/8 of an inch, because I take 1/4 of an inch off of the bottom. It gives me 1/8 of an inch on the top and the bottom. So I put some liquid glue on the far side of the chicken wire one, because I knew I had to tuck that green in underneath. I didn't want to start with the green because I wanted to make sure the chicken wire went all the way over to the right hand side. And I'm doing the reverse on this side because the chicken wire is the one with the white showing. So it's the one that's going down. Well, the inside piece is going down first on both of them, but the green piece on the left-hand page had the white showing. So I made sure to just glue down the far right of that left-hand chicken wire so that I could tuck the green underneath to cover up that white border. And this one was easier because I didn't, the outside piece was the second piece going down. So I'm liking the way that this is looking so far. And I did already meet the requirements for the spray mist. I kind of totally forgot about the fact that I needed some bubbles or circles. So I will be adding that later. And I'm hoping this counts as monochromatic because it's the closest you're going to get today for me. But I do a lot of monochromatic layouts, even mixed media or non-mixed media. That is not something that I struggle with or find difficult. I do know that it is difficult for a lot of people, but I don't normally find that to be a difficult thing. I usually just work out of my color bins and pull inks and stuff that are in the same color family. So in this case, I'm kind of working in that range on the color wheel where the yellow and the green meet up, and I'm calling it good. So anyway, I just really liked this gate chipboard piece, and I thought it was perfect for this because there's gates and fencing in all of these photos. And so I thought, you know what, it's perfect. It also has these trees behind our heads, especially in the photos on the left-hand page. There's green trees in the right-hand page, but the yellowy trees on the left-hand page. And so that is why I went with this color scheme. The fencing is also green in one of those photos. So I thought it was just a really good way to go ahead and bring in green and that greenish yellow color, or the yellowy side of the green. So I know I did use some cheddar on there, which technically is more orange, but go with it. We're going to go with it. So I'm just using liquid glue to adhere these trees down. I liked that the chipboard piece had a tree sticking up on the right hand side. And so I just wanted to bring in a little bit more of that look. I don't think they have a lot of these types of trees in different parts of Nevada, but I think in this part of Nevada, it's not too far from, the California border or Reno, and they do have trees, big trees in that area where you, so I'm hoping they had some of these kind of trees. The trees in the photos are definitely not evergreen trees. They are, whatever trees, I don't even know what kind of trees they are, to be honest with you. But I like the way that this turned out, so I'm not worried about it. They don't have to always match. Okay, so I do have this piece that says the details on it with the stack of animals, which I thought was super cute. So I definitely want to use that. That's going to be my journaling spot. It's really just a lot about the act of feeding these cows and how fun it was, and that we got to do it as a group. And I'm doing several pages with photos of feeding these cows, so I don't have to fit all of my journaling on this one layout. I will have additional spots to go ahead and record other information. So I'm not super worried about not having another journaling card or spot in there. And if worse comes to worse, there is a spot that is to the left of that bottom photo on the left-hand page that is just chicken wire. I could add some journaling with a white pen right there if I really needed to. So when I get to that point, I will assess that and decide. You're not going to get to see it because I actually don't do any of the journaling on camera, because I want to make sure I get all of the pages done first and then do it kind of chronologically. and tell the story kind of in order. And so at this point, I don't know how much of it's going to be on the pages that came before this. So in this particular photo, we are actually done feeding the cows, and the very last photo there, we are walking back to the barn to return the bottles and such. And the young lady that took us, there is a photo of her there. Her name is Brooke, and she is feeding 2 cows. She's got 1 bottle she's holding between her knees and 1 with her hands. None of us were that talented, but she's very experienced, and so that's what she did. So now I am going to go ahead and add my circles or bubbles. I'm adding them in the form of dots. I have 2 different stamps that have 2 different sizes of circles. That one has a very small circles on it, and then the other one has larger circles or dots that I am using. And I am going to make my own title. It's going to be Home on the Range, and I'm cutting the word range out of the yellow. I'm going to use some of that Martini Catherine Pooler ink that you see up at the top. I also used some archival ink from Ranger to create some of those dots. I will be pulling out another one, a yellow ink called Catching Rays, and then I'm going to stamp some of that on the background as well. Theoretically, you would have done this before you added all your other stuff, but it's not such a big deal that I can't just add a few here and there to tie it in. And the skinny part of that dotted stamp was perfect to fit between the rails of that fence stamp. And then this other one is flexible enough because it's an acrylic. I can just add a few dots here and there in between the rails. Not a problem. And I wasn't actually even worried about stamping right over my photos, so it looks like the stamp is coming out from underneath the photos. You're going to see me do that as well. Because I print on a selfie printer, I can use a baby wipe just to wipe the front of the photo off, and it doesn't hurt the photo at all. You can get them completely wet. They're virtually indestructible. They're very hard to rip. And so you can see I'm using a baby wipe there just to wipe off any excess ink that got on the photo from me stamping. And I think that just kind of finishes it off nicely. I do ink up a little bit where the journaling is, or not the journaling, the title's going to go, and the journaling box or block. And adding a little bit more to the word range just to kind of finish it off. Adding in some of that yellow color. I had only stamped, I think, the green and the black at first on the word range, and so I added in a little bit of tone-on-tone yellow, and I like the way that it looks. Now the word home is going to be coming from either the chipboard or the puffy stickers. I can't remember which set it comes from, but it's definitely from this collection. And then the words on are the little tiny tile letters that I use occasionally. So, and I have it is foam. I have a stamp that creates the tile letters, so I can create them in whatever color, and I have them already stamped and cut out. And those are from Paper Tray ink. Super hard to find anymore. They are old, and I know a lot of people have asked me where to get them, and you would have to do a big search on the internet to go and find them. I don't have a source for you, so I apologize for that. And then what I do is I put the tiles onto this strip of white paper that has some adhesive on it so that I can move each word around individually. I don't have to move each letter individually, which gets to be a little bit of an issue, like getting things lined up and making sure things fit. It's much easier when the entire word is one piece. So I'm not adding any foam or anything to any of these. They're just going flat. The word home does have, it is foam, so it does have dimension added to it already. So while I do that, I want to remind you that this is a hop we do every Friday. This is for Mixed Media Mayhem. There is a group of us playing along. You can check it out down below, and you can go see what everyone else made with that same recipe. And then Kit Conspiracy, if you haven't been following along, is something that MK and I are doing all month long for the month of November. We are kitting up stuff each week, and working from the same kit each week so that we have the same papers. And in this case, we have a lot of the same embellishments as well. And you can see how we use our kits differently. I am using the same inks that I used on the trees to go ahead and put a little bit of splatter around each area, and that adds to the dots because those are little dot splatters. So I think it counts as circles. Maybe not bubbles, but circles. And then I found a couple of pieces in the sticker pack, or on the sticker sheet, that worked at the bottom of this photo, and I just added a staple to hold it in place. And that is it, you guys. So don't forget to check out everyone else playing along, and especially go check out MK's channel to see what she has done today for Mixed Media Mayhem. And it is combined with her Kit Conspiracy as well. Thanks so much for watching. If you have questions or comments, as always, you can leave those down below, and I will get back to you as quickly as I can. And if you enjoyed this video, I would love if you would give me a thumbs up. And I will see you guys again tomorrow with another video. Bye-bye.